When I saw that you could make a living from art, I said, wow, you can make a living. I'm going to be an artist. But you know what, Jose? I focused and I said, well, I want to be an artist, but I'm going to put a lot of effort into it because I would like and really want to be among the best artists in Baja California. I was born in Mexico City, and we were there. Well, I was practically just born there because when I was 2, my mom moved with 2 other siblings and I to the city of Irapuato, Guanajuato. And we lived there in Irapuato for 10 years. Starting in 1994, when I was about 12, we moved to Baja California. And since then, we've been here, enjoying Baja California. Were you already an artist when you arrived in Baja California? Actually, no. I was deeply impressed, and I never ever thought I would be an artist, a painter, because my first experience with art was when I was about 8 years old. One day, walking down a street in downtown Irapuato, for the first time in my life, I looked at a gallery and saw a painting, and it was a seascape, a wave with incredible transparency. It impacted me. It was for the first time in my life I'd ever looked at a work of art and was shocked to see that. Never. Every time I try to go downtown, I try to go through that city just to see the paintings, but I never imagined I would be a painter. It was something tremendous that happened there. I remember when we arrived here in Baja California, I was 12 years old. I spent my time working as a child in different places until I met a painter there in Playas de Tijuana, and I helped him carry pictures up and down that he was exhibiting at a hospital there in Playas de Tijuana. And so I started with him, a 14-year-old boy carrying pictures up and down. Then he noticed me painting and said, "Do you want to learn to paint?" And I said, "Well, yes," because he paid me. He paid me for starting the paintings that I didn't know how to paint. I don't know how this young man paid me, this artist, because I almost didn't know how to combine colors. I didn't know about colors or solvents or brushes, absolutely nothing. And just as the color came out of the tube, well, I think I mixed it with another and put it there, and he paid me until I was 14 years working with this artist. And there, fortunately, he taught me everything about learning to paint and paints, solvents, artists, frames, even setting up a gallery from beginning to end. That's when I became an artist with this teacher. His name, the name of the artist who taught me to paint, is Paco Garcia, who currently has a gallery in the Rosarito Beach Hotel, and he continues to paint as well. I was 14 years old when I started working, painting with Paco Garcia, and well, it was when I was 14 years old and I was working with him for 14 years and learning. But do you know what inspired me? I come from a really terrible economic situation at home because my mom's husband was an alcoholic, and our house was such that our bed was a floor mat and the walls of the house were made of reeds. And I said, how terrible. I don't want to live like this. And you know, I tried really hard to try to study to be a professional, but nothing stuck. So when I looked at the artist Paco, who painted a picture and sold it, I said, wow, well, you can make a living from art. And that's when I understood. I said, I'm not good at studying, but I don't want to be in the same situation that I come from. So I'm going to paint one day, I'm going to sell a painting like he sells, and one day I'm going to earn what he earns. And that motivated me to paint. And well, if it was possible to make a living from art, I said, I want to make a living from art. And well, a tremendous thing happened. I started painting, and when I realized it, I said, wow, how tremendous, right? Fate. The first time I looked at a painting, it was a seascape. It impacted me, like it was a sign of what I was going to do in my adult life. And you know what's amazing? I painted the sea a lot. I paint a lot of seascapes. I've been working for, well, 31 years now with some galleries in the United States, which I am tremendously passionate about. I specialize in painting seascapes. I love it. When I started painting, you asked me, what did you start painting? I started painting those typical streets because that was what the client, the tourist, was looking for, to take something from Mexico. And we started doing that, and suddenly we started to change our style a little bit. We started making balconies, those Mediterranean-like balconies with bougainvilleas, flower pots, and the sea. And that's when I became really passionate about painting that, painting the sea. And we started doing those kinds of Mediterranean landscapes with bougainvilleas, flower pots, and we did it in a kind of three-dimensional way. We made the balcony, modeled it with clay, and made flower pots, the plants, and we highlighted them, and then we painted them. We had tremendous success with that work. We sold that work for, I think, about 25 years, at least 30 years, selling those kinds of landscapes. It was really good for us to paint that. I gained tremendous practice painting those themes, paintings. It was the sea. I started, and for me, each painting is still like a study. Each painting I paint is a study. I'll never finish learning how to paint, and I'll always learn something new with every painting I do. What motivated you to become a gallery owner? I started by telling you that I started painting in a gallery. The doors would open, our easels would be ready there. It was a gallery studio. So I learned this. I learned to paint and I learned to market art. And seeing that I'm passionate, you know, at first, I looked at it, I said, well, I can make a living from this. But now, it's become my passion. And I say, if I had to do it, I would paint for free. Because it's become a passion. And I love what I do. I enjoy it so much. And I say, wow, how wonderful. And they're still going to pay me for something I enjoy so much? Saying, you know, what motivated me to sell other artists art is because I greatly admire the work of the masters. This is my studio, and there I have the work of masters. And the work I'm surrounded by in the gallery inspires me, and that has helped me become a better artist too. I've had the influence of those 15 or 20 masters who have been in the gallery, and so I've learned something from each of them, and I have work in the gallery because it's my passion. I have it out of passion. The masters come to me and say, hey, look, I've got these pieces. Do you like them? I love them. I love this one, and this one. I choose what I like, and I've developed an eye for it, so I can market the work, and I can say, this is going to sell really fast. I hope that develops over the years, being in the gallery, dealing directly with people. And that has done me good, and the celebrities come and done the artists good, because thank God we're doing well selling the master's work also. It was in 1998 when I opened a gallery with very basic commercial art by artists who were also beginning to paint. But I wanted to support local artists because at that time we were bringing a lot of work from China. And they would bring the canvases. They arrived here in Baja California, put a stretcher on them, and the galleries here would be filled with Chinese art. So I would say, no, I don't want Chinese art. I want Mexican art, art produced here. And we started with the most basic, with commercial artists who painted a seascape, some fruit, and they would sell it, paint it again, and that was what I painted, but with a local artist. But I wanted to have a gallery where we handled only original art and art from the masters of Baja California. That was achieved about 10 years later when Rocio Hoffman came to work here at the gallery. She needed a space to paint, and I said, well, come paint. Here's a gallery. You have a space, set up the easel. This is a studio. And she started painting here. She started selling art. She started inviting artists because she had all the connections with the artists of Baja California. So she started inviting them, and they began to trust us because at that point there was still commercial art hanging in the gallery. But we told them we were going to take it out. We wanted to start a gallery featuring pure original art, and we were going to take out this work that's here as the artist arrived. Until that was achieved, I think in less than a year we had already sold all our commercial work, and we already had artwork from the masters in Baja California. Just a gallery. I think I've been running this gallery for over 20 years now, showcasing original art. This gallery, located here at kilometer 33 in Popotla area, across from Fox Studios where the Titanic was filmed. That's where we started with the gallery in 1998, and from there we expanded a bit. We bought those spaces and then bought 2 more, and now we have 4 locations here, practically gallery-like, where you can come in and enjoy the incredible variety of masters from Baja California. About how many artists exhibit their art in the gallery? Approximately 15 masters exhibit their art right now, and we've managed about 25 artists from the masters here in Baja California. It's something truly wonderful. We have great masters of the visual arts. Unfortunately, I can't have that much because space is very limited, but we do have 15 of the greatest artists of Baja California. Artists who make a living from their art and do nothing but paint, and they make their living from that. And they're already established, both inside and outside of our country. You've made a living from art since what age? Well, I started with this teacher when I was 14, and I'm currently 62. And this became my way of life. I make a living from art, I've done nothing but paint and represent my friends, the artists. That's been my life. This art became my passion, as I said. What is your greatest accomplishment? Well, I consider my greatest triumph because one of my greatest wishes and desires was to be in a gallery in the United States. I believe that's the dream of any artist. It's like being in the big leagues. And my greatest triumph is having achieved that desire of my heart. I've been working with galleries in the United States for 31 years now. I take most of my production to the United States, and it's wonderful to have been present in galleries in the United States for 31 consecutive years. I believe it's one of my greatest achievements, for which I'm very happy and grateful. My next goal, I believe I've achieved what I've desired in my heart. I've achieved it, right? I wanted to be in a gallery in the United States. I achieved it, and I'm still there today. I wanted to appear in art magazines like Southwest Art, Art and Antiques magazine, other magazines that are distributed throughout the United States, Canada, and Mexico. And it was something that happened in my life too. Several magazines published my work and everything I've achieved. I've kept it for myself. It's something satisfying for me, and I think that right now I'm painting less for galleries in the United States, and I'm dedicating more time to painting my work, what I want, pleasing Polo Valencia, doing what I want, and I have more time for myself, and that's what I want. I can't leave the galleries in the United States, but I have more time now to continue doing what I wanted to paint and didn't have time to do. And I think that this is me. I'm at my stage of pleasing the artist, of painting what for many years I wanted to paint and didn't have time to. And now I have that, and I think that it's going to be the last, right? I'm going to continue enjoying the years of my life that remain, painting what my heart desires to do, pleasing the artist Polo Valencia. That's how I'm going to end up painting for myself, repainting and enjoying each work very much, and I always try to do my best. I have to like it before the viewer likes it.